He was remorseful. He regretted his action. And then going further, he decided to take action, steps to correct what he had done. These actions taken by Judas show to a great extent the sincerity of his contrition. However, when he tried to return the money, the elders rejected it. So he went away and committed suicide. Why? Because of guilt. Guilt is what we all experience. Guilt is indeed good because it facilitates our reconciliation with God, our reconciliation with others, and our reconciliation with ourselves. To have guilt indicates that we still have sense of sin. We are still able to differentiate what is good and what is bad. However, if guilt makes it difficult for us to feel forgiven or to forgive ourselves, then such guilt has become a poisonous prison. The guilt felt by Judas was deep and unbearable. However, he allowed his guilt to become so destructive and self-condemning. He couldn't forgive himself. Judas failed to understand that what he did can never be undone. And that is life. There are certain mistakes we make that can never be undone. There are certain ways that can never be unsaid. There are certain actions that can never be reversed. And certain consequences will always remain, no matter how much we try. So peace and reconciliation begin the moment we stop fighting to redeem a past we cannot change. To be forgiven does not mean that those actions will be reversed or the consequences will automatically go away. No. To be forgiven means that God has taken those actions away from out of my record and is no longer going to hold me accountable or judge me by those actions. And also my own part, that I have looked at what I did, got my lessons, and I'm prepared to move forward. If Judas understood that the reason why Jesus went up to the cross was to take away our shame and our guilt, he would have been open to God's mercy. Perhaps his story would have ended differently. So this Holy Week, I'm inviting all of you, the members of this family, to reflect prayerfully so that we may rediscover again and again what actually happened at Calvary and how that still speaks to me today. Such that what we are going to do within this Holy Week will not just be that annual ritual and routine. Let us enter into the story. Let us rediscover what happened at Calvary. Because that is one thing Judas failed to understand. So he carried the guilt on himself and it weighed him down and destroyed him. So, if you are still being taunted by guilt, such that relentlessly you are replaying, rehearsing, analyzing, and regretting the past, remember that Jesus Christ went to the cross to take away such guilt. If you feel at any moment that God doesn't love you enough, maybe because of what is going on in your life, remember that it was to show the depth of his love that he sent his son to sacrifice his own life on the Calvary. If you find it difficult to forgive yourself, remember that that one person you offended has graciously forgiven you from the cross. So why are you still carrying the guilt of something you have apologized to God and confessed? Why are you still allowing the guilt to speak louder than the mercy of God? Why are you still carrying the burden God himself has taken away from you where he mounted the cross? This week, let us discover what indeed happened at Calvary and how that speaks to us. Judas was destroyed, not because of the sin he committed necessarily, but because of the guilt he held onto. Let the guilt go. That is part of the reason why Jesus went to the cross, to take it away from you, so that you don't carry the burden. If you are still carrying the burden of whatever sin, whatever thing that happened in the past, something you have apologized for, something you have acknowledged, and you think you can redo it, remember, when Judas tried, he was frustrated because the elders couldn't take back the money. He wanted to redo it. But there are certain things we cannot undo. But there is no sin that is beyond God's redemption. So, I welcome you all to Holy Week, a time when we shall go back again to discover the relevance of the sacrifice of Jesus, so that when the Bible says to us, he took our shame and took our guilt, we will understand why we shouldn't be carrying it, because it might destroy us. He went to the Calvary, to the cross, to redeem the past we cannot redeem by ourselves. He went to the cross so that the guilt will not overwhelm us.